Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for Kenzie's Krimes, where we all gather around the campfire and Kenzie tells us a story of murder, mystery, drama, right from our area here in the Chicagoland area in Illinois. So maybe you know about the story, maybe you don't. Me and Case do not know what she's going to talk about. So Kenzie, take it away.
All right, I want to talk about probably the sweetest couple in the game, Chuck and Cheryl Lynn Hall. They were a beautiful young couple who had recently been married, and they lived in a really cute apartment located in Aurora on the 1600 block of Shamrock Courts. So if that rings any bells to you, that's still there.
I had an apartment over there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In the Aurora stores?
What'd you call it? What was the name of your apartment?
A sweet, romantic
P-block?
stabbing cabin.
Ho for show.
Anywho, on September 9th, 1981, they had just been married over 2 years, and Chuck had just arrived home from work to an image that would haunt him for a lifetime. Oof. He opened their bedroom door to find his 20-year-old wife, Cheryl, with a cord from an iron wrapped around her neck and the other end tied to the bedroom doorknob. Signs of struggle were obvious, but there were no signs of break-in, making them wonder who would have received an open door from Cheryl Hall before they decided to murder her.
Jeez.
The family, which I honestly couldn't gather why they felt this way, but the family had a hunch that the crime was committed by a couple's mutual friend named Larry Galloway. 2 weeks after 20-year-old Cheryl Lynn Hall was found strangled in her Aurora apartment in 1981, her mother called up the chief suspect, which was Larry Galloway, and said that he would eventually pay for what he did. She was that convinced.
Wow.
On the phone call, he said to her, "Bring it on," and hung up. That's what he said. How wild is that? Like, most people would be like, hey, I didn't do it.
Yeah. My dad's name was Larry.
I hope not Galloway.
No, it wasn't. No, but he was tough too.
Okay, tough guy. He never once cooperated with police. Larry did not live far from the couple. He had also been a guest in their apartment several weeks prior to the murder for a card game night.
Pay that man his money.
However, without a witness or motive or as advanced DNA testing as we now have, the case went cold. The murder and lack of justice truly broke Chuck's heart. That was Cheryl's husband. Many said a piece of him died when she did, and that they were obvious soulmates. He struggled, thinking that he also failed to protect her because he had invited that man into their home. He was a super kind-hearted person and had literally been seen on more than one occasion taking the shirt off of his back for a homeless person.
I mean, I've thought of doing that. And then I go, like, what am I supposed to do? Walk around with no shirt the rest of the day? Like,
honestly, you'd probably get arrested. You walking out without a shirt is scary.
Like, that's someone to give me their shirt. Like, someone would think I'm homeless.
It's the sisterhood of the traveling shirt.
Then you just feel guilty. You get like a really nice, like a Dior shirt, and you feel bad about the whole thing. You stole from somebody.
I gave him, like, a T-shirt from, like, Hot Topic.
Costco.
Yeah.
Now, he did try to piece his life back together. He remarried and had 2 sons. And although he was a super dedicated father, it was apparent that his wife was always going to have to compete with the ghost of Cheryl, and his marriage ended. Larry also moved on with his life, marrying and having children. The case was reopened in 1997. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to pause right here.
Okay.
The place that they followed Larry to get evidence, it's going to make you question going places again. So I'm going to pause right there. But I'm like, they did not catch this man off of that. It's the very next part of the story.
What, do you go to Jewel?
Just wait. You have no idea.
I was thinking strip club.
Oh, okay.
You are going to be like, what's in the world? It's going to make you have goosebumps that you don't want to do this.
All right. We'll have that coming up, the conclusion of Kenzie's Krimes, in about 3 minutes.
Now is your chance to qualify for the golden ticket. Please don't text and drive. Standard message and data rates apply.
Q101.
All right, the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes coming up here after Bush in about 5 minutes. Let's give you the next key word for the next hour. That word is house, because the show is at the House of Blues, Tokyo Police Club. That's your qualifying prize. So House. I guess I got to spell house, right? I mean, how can you spell house wrong?
Of course, you have to spell it. Have you realized what happens here?
I know.
We're going to get mouse, for sure. A lot of that.
So text house, House, to 312-591-8300. The qualifying prize is Tokyo Police Club at the House of Blues Sunday, November 3rd from our great friends at Live Nation, our partners, our family. And then also qualify you for the golden ticket. That's the best radio prize in the history of radio. Access to everything we do for the entire year, from Riot Fest to Riot Fest, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of concert tickets. And you're basically our VIP. You walk past the velvet rope and go right in. Hey, I'm here. I'm the golden ticket winner. So text house to 312-591-8300. And coming up after Bush, the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes, which I can't wait to figure out what the hell happened here that Kenzie teased there. Coming up here, 5 minutes, Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes today. Left a huge cliffhanger, Kenzie did, about this story. But why don't you catch us up a little bit right now to get us where we need to be?
Yeah, so Chuck and Cheryl Hall were a really sweet young couple. They had been married just over 2 years when Chuck did find his wife strangled in their apartment. For some reason, the whole family had this huge hunch that the murder was committed by their mutual friend, Larry Galloway, especially since there was obviously not a break-in into the apartment. Cheryl must have opened this door willingly. But due to just lack of evidence, witness, etc., the case went cold. It was reopened in 1997. And in August 2008, after enough circumstantial evidence, police followed Larry Galloway to a Chili's in Aurora.
Oh.
Listen.
I want my baby back, baby back. Chili's, baby back ribs. Chili's, baby back ribs. Barbecue sauce. I got my baby back ribs.
And when he was done and left the table, they took the straw he was using to get DNA evidence. He did not know he was being followed. He did not know they were going to grab a straw off the table. He ate it at Chili's, and they took the straw after he left.
How long was this from the murder that he got away with?
The murder happened in 1981. In August 2008, they took the DNA off the straw.
Why didn't they go for the straw like that year the murder happened? Because it sounds like he liked Chili's a lot. I know DNA probably wasn't what it is
The DNA,
later.
and I said that earlier, the DNA examples, maybe at that point in time, you couldn't get saliva DNA to do blood. I'm not sure what advanced in DNA. I don't want to get roasted for that. But now being able to get like maybe something out of your mouth to connect with blood or whatever it is, we've completely advanced, which is why I think it took this long. I think things took place that they were like, we can now use this. He was then arrested at Ogilvie Transportation Center, where he then worked, and was set to go on trial for first-degree murder charges. Now, his DNA matched under Cheryl's left hand fingernails. 9 out of 13 analysis points matched, according to prosecutors. 2 of the points were inconclusive, which a lot of things can happen, like other DNA can get mixed in and things like dirt, whatever. Even though some of it matched, it obviously wasn't 100%, and the family got nervous about the potential verdict. So Larry indicated he'd be willing to plead guilty to a lesser charge, which, by the way, I feel like the second somebody says, I'll just be guilty for a lesser charge, they should just be guilty.
Yeah,
you know, like if he's like, yeah, I'll take it. Because if you didn't do it, why would you be like, I'm fine? No way. Not even all the DNA matches. So anyways, the voluntary manslaughter charge, which was on the Illinois books in 1981, was equivalent to a second-degree murder charge today. The family didn't want to take a risk and have him potentially walk free, so they decided to offer the plea deal. What they kind of came to the conclusion on is that Larry went to the door when he knew Cheryl would be off work from her bank gig and knew that her husband would be at work. It was a Wednesday. He showed up, thought she'd open the door, which she did somewhat reluctantly because she thought it was weird that he showed up. He allegedly made sexual advances, which she wasn't interested in, and that's what led to the assault. Okay.
God.
So he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Under 1981 guidelines, he is required to serve 5 years. However, days before Christmas, they found out he was already a free man, getting out 428 days early.
What?
They felt that it was a slap in the face because he already had a short sentence for murder.
God.
Chuck Hall, the husband, had already been battling lung cancer, which the family believed he got because of so many years of depression. You know how they say that when you go through something traumatic, a lot of times your body ends up sick. He was battling lung cancer, and after the final horrific news, he was never able to recover and passed away.
God.
Family said he knew in his final time that Cheryl was waiting for him in heaven.
Oh.
Isn't that so sad? This guy, Larry, got out early. You already get placed in prison for a really short sentence for committing murder, and then you get out. Who cares if they're behaving well? You murdered somebody. It doesn't matter that you're not starting fights in prison.
So he didn't get shanked ever.
He never got shanked.
This is terrible news. I still will go to Chili's.
I don't think they had any involvement in this case.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Change? No, of course not.
Well, and also, Chili's helped out a lot. That's how they were able to get the DNA.
We should actually go to Chili's more now.
We should support them. And if you sign up for their loyalty program, you get free chips and salsa every time you go. I'm in it.
I want my baby back, baby back. Chili's, baby back ribs. Chili's, baby back ribs. Barbecue sauce. I got my baby back ribs.
Kenzie's Crimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a north side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
See, says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Well, there it is. If you missed any of that, remember it'll be on the podcast later, Kenzie's Crimes on the Brian and Kenzie podcast feed, because you may have came in at the end of that to hear the whole story, the whole dramatic, amazing story. Now, coming up, we'll give you that keyword one more time in about 8 minutes for this hour, where you'll see Tokyo Police Club at the House of Blues, but more importantly, qualify for the golden ticket, everything for an entire year, Riot Fest to Riot Fest, Q101's golden ticket. Also coming up in about 15 minutes, remember that Chicago River swim? They were going to put a couple hundred people in the river and swim the Chicago River. Well, it's not happening in the river anymore. They're moving it. We'll tell you where they're going to swim. You will not believe it. That's coming up also, coming up next here with Brian and Kenzie.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Well, once again, giving you that key word, it's house to 312-591-8300. Text house, House, to 312-591-8300. That's your chance to go see Tokyo Police Club at the House of Blues. And also qualify for Q101's golden ticket, the greatest radio prize in history. Riot Fest to Riot Fest, you'll get everything access that we do here. It's all of us as a family here, and you're part of it, and we get you in. So text house right now. Now, we just got done with Kenzie's Crimes. If you missed it, of course, it all gets back on the podcast, the Brian and Kenzie feed at Q101.com, and anywhere you get your podcast. And interesting, we have a guy on the phone here, Dale checked in, because he was related to the woman you talked about who was sadly, tragically murdered in today's episode.
Cheryl Hall was murdered, and Dale was actually married to Cheryl's sister. So Cheryl was his sister-in-law by marriage.
And he was really moved, and you know that you were talking about this on the air. And Dale, we're bringing it up on the air right now. So Dale, Hoy, welcome in.
Oh, hi. How are you this morning?
Oh, appreciate you. So obviously it's hit some chords with you this morning hearing this story.
Oh, it does. It does. It's been 43 years, and just watching the nightmare that my ex-wife, her family in particular, and the effect that it had on our marriage, our children. My oldest daughter is named after her late aunt.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare, literally. And then for this POS to be able to serve 4 years on a plea deal, it was horrendous.
Yeah,
horrendous.
I bet it was. I can't even imagine close to the feelings that the family would have on something like this. So, yeah.
Oh, the anger.
Yeah.
That my wife and her mother harbor to this day is just It's unbearable.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm divorced.
Oh,
Oh, boy. Dale, we can't get into your personal story now. We got to get your divorce and what happened with your marriage, but I'm sure it's pretty interesting. Well, listen, Dale.
I understand.
Well, listen, we appreciate you listening, and thanks for checking in on that and letting us know, that when you hear these stories, how powerful they can be.
Yeah,
and they do. They affect a lot of people, and it really means a lot. Thank you for doing them. And you know what? We enjoy listening to you in the morning. I, in particular, every day try to hear you. So.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dale. And, I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm happy that your family finally got some justice. I'm so sorry that it wasn't enough. And I hope we got the word out about that. And hopefully your family feels a little bit more vindicated, a little more of a win that people around Chicagoland know that your whole family deserve more.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, Dale, you have a stellar day, man. We appreciate you listening. And, really, really interesting to hear from sadly people involved in these crimes, but how it affects their lives personally and how it all goes. It's just hits a little more home. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.